Good evening, everyone. Welcome into Vol Society Live on this Tuesday night. My name is David Morrison. I'm the Vol Society lead analyst right here on the Vol Society Network. Thank you for joining us across our social media platforms, Facebook.com/YouTube Vol Society, YouTube.com/Vol Society, and on Twitter at Society Vol. We are so glad that you are a part of Vol Society. Got a lot to talk about tonight. This is the second time this week we have joined you this week. Obviously, Sunday night we preview the Capital One Orange Bowl as the Tennessee Volunteers taking on the Clemson Tigers. We broke down that game. We probably won't spend too much with it tonight, but if you definitely want a kind of a early preview of it, definitely go check that out. Shout out to Timothy watching along. Hello, SEC Coach of the Year. Yes, we're going to talk about uh, SEC Coach of the Year. Our founder Brad is in the chat room. Go Vols! Heisman Trophy is a joke and award, and I'm about to talk about that in just a second. SEC Player of the Year. Yeah, we're going to dive into that. We're also going to talk about the transfer portal. It opened up on Monday. We'll talk about who from Tennessee obviously is in the transfer portal and who Tennessee is targeting. And then we'll also talk some recruiting because, believe it or not, we also have early signing day coming up on December the 21st. I don't expect Tennessee to make a big contribution for the 2023 class, but just kind of preview some players in the 2024 class. But first, our founder Brad's already mentioned in the comments, and please leave your comments and your questions like Timothy and Brad has done. Leave us a like, share the video out. But let's talk about the Heisman Trophy. All right, so Monday night, we were waiting in anticipation. It was Hendon Hooker going to be a finalist. Um, for me personally, I had a feeling that Hendon wasn't going to win it. But I'm thinking, okay, well, he's probably going to be invited to New York. And when I saw that Hendon Hooker was nominated for the Maxwell Award as a finalist and the Walter Camp Award and the Manning Award, I'm thinking, well, surely to goodness, yeah, he's going to be invited to New York. And even as a Vol fans, I think we all know, okay, he may not win it, but that's awesome that he's going to New York. He's going to represent the University of Tennessee, talk about his season, maybe talk about transfer portal, I don't know, his book, something, just to represent the university. Come to find out Monday night, he wasn't even a finalist. I don't know what to tell you, Vol fans. I mean, like Brad said, it's a joke of an award, and I agree. You have one of the nominees, one of the finalists, who plays in the Pac 12. In his championship game, his fingernails painted F Utah. Meanwhile, you have one nominee who didn't become a finalist, wrote a children's book, a scripture children's book. And the guy that has F fingernails or F Utah on his fingernails is a finalist. Come on. What is the Heisman Trophy supposed to be? Besides, yeah, as Brad said, meaningless, means nothing. It's a total joke. And not only Vol fans are upset by it, and I understand we're bringing up 97 and with Charles Woodson and Peyton Manning, and it brings up old wounds, and I agree. I'll just say this: I'm one of the few Vol fans that probably not anti Charles Woodson because I don't blame Charles Woodson. I blame the voters. But this is, once again, the voters, and it's disappointing to see. It's frustrating to see. But I guarantee if you ask Hendon Hooker how he feels about it, he's just going to be as humble as he can be. He's a great character, a great leader at the University of Tennessee. And today on our Facebook page, we launched our year-end Vol Society year-end awards. And, as soon as you get done watching this, please make sure you go vote for those for Vol of the Year and Breakout Star of the Year. Hendon Hooker's running away with the Vol of the Year. I'm just going to say that right now. I'm not trying to sway votes, but it just shows what Hendon Hooker means. And, I guess looking back at what happened with Peyton in 97, hindsight 2020, Peyton turned out to be one of the biggest celebrities in the world after his career at Tennessee. I mean, he's still a major celebrity today, doing the Monday Night Football and the commercials and all that. And I hope in the future Hendon Hooker's kind of maybe have a little bit of a Peyton Manning and can have a better career outside of this credential. But and then you have Stetson Bennett as a finalist. I mean, good for him, I guess. And Max Duggan. Anyways, that's all I'm gonna say about it. A friend of the show, Jordan, he mentioned it too, as far as the Caleb Williams and Hendon Hooker. I mean, I guess writing a children's book and getting hurt, doesn't get you a Heisman Trophy finalist, but you can write F Utah on your fingernails and be a mailman, be a finalist. I don't know. It's frustrating, but it is what it is. But like I said, I appreciate what Hendon Hooker's done. I appreciate what he's contributed, and yeah, I totally support Hendon Hooker, and I wish him nothing but the best in the future. And matter of fact, even though he's not playing the rest of the year, he got invited to the Reese's Senior Bowl. And now he's not going to play in it, but he got invited. Man, it just proves the character he is and rewarded the talent he is. And I wish he got the Heisman. Yeah, but if the Heisman's going to be that type of award that has the same name as a Johnny Manziel and a O.J. Simpson, then they can keep that award. And that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, Brad says, I'll say this in regard to bowl games. This Orange Bowl is probably the most exciting one that people are going to watch. Should be a good one. Absolutely. I'm excited about this Orange Bowl, like Brad said. And, you look, and like we mentioned this Sunday night, or I did, this is a must-win really for both programs. You look at Tennessee's perspective. Tennessee beats Clemson. You knocked off what? I know you played the last 4 national championships, but you've beaten the 3 out of the last 4 national champions, your college football playoff national champions. You already defeated Alabama, you beat LSU, and you can knock Clemson out. That's even better. And this propels Tennessee into 2023 as okay. Here's what Tennessee did: 11 grilling burgers, baby, as Brad says. Absolutely. You go 11-2. Yeah, you're going to lose some players like Hendon Hooker and Cedric Tillman and Byron Young and Darnell Wright. But you look at what's coming back. Is Joe Milton the guy? And hopefully Joe Milton goes out there and plays lights out in the Orange Bowl. You look at the running backs coming back. All 3 are coming back. Small, Wright, Dylan Sampson, the wide receivers, Brew McCoy, and then some of the freshmen. It's a lot of excitement. Still need help on defense, and I'm going to talk about that. Brad says I have concern with Joe, unfortunately, and rightfully so. The Vanderbilt game's still kind of eye opening. We'll see what kind of happens in route. Timothy says, we want some games that think we would with Bama, LSU, Florida, Pitt. Yeah, you're right. Also said finish the season ranked number 6 and you're right too on that. Like I said, Tennessee took that next step up. And, you mentioned Timothy, Bama and Florida and Pitt. Well, even LSU too. Tennessee, they made some mistakes in those games, but they weren't intimidated. We didn't see, a mentality of Tennessee where it's like, I just hope we go in there and don't make that big mistake and mentally thinking, don't make the mistake. And what they do, they make the mistake and then they get romped. I mean, besides Georgia and South Carolina, Tennessee, like I said, they knocked off 4 of them teams. I mean, some of those were nail biters, particularly Florida and Pitt and Bama. But they knew they were coached very well and the players executed very well. So, absolutely. But yeah, it's going to be a fun Orange Bowl. And if you look at it from Clemson's perspective, Clemson, they won the ACC championship. And, if Cape Klubnik is the guy that they think he is, and, if they do beat us, yeah, they're going to be propelled back straight to the top. Anyways, give our first shout out to Tanya Jackson, leaving us a like on Facebook. Thank you very much. Like I said, continue to bring these comments and questions along as we continue to dive in. All right, let's talk about the transfer portal. So the transfer portal opened up yesterday at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time. And kind of like last year, we saw a bunch of players hit the transfer portal. Obviously, some for playing time, some for a fresh start, some for NIL. You're going to see players that you're kind of scratching your head like, why is they in the transfer portal? Well, probably trying to get an NIL deal. College football in 2022. That's what it is. But Tennessee did have some players hit the transfer portals. Nothing too surprising. And I think I mentioned this a little bit Sunday, but you have two wide receivers, Jimmy Callaway, Jimmy Holiday, both in the transfer portal. Two running backs in Lanique Whitehead and Justin Williams-Thomas. Tight end Miles Campbell, and inside lineman Savion Herring. Kind of look at it from their perspective, or try to. Thank you, Brad. Lady Vols, 69-39 win over Chattanooga. That's a final. Thank you, Brad, for telling that. Appreciate it. But you look at let's talk about the two Jimmys first. You look at the wide receiver room at Tennessee. Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt, Brew McCoy, Ramel Keaton, Squirrel White. We saw a lot of those guys play pretty much significant throughout the year. And of course, we kind of, after 2 years of seeing Josh Heupel's offense, unless there's a dead ball situation, we don't see a lot of rotation with our wide receivers. It's, we see what Josh Heupel and Alex Golesh puts out there. They stick with the three wide receivers and they go run the entire drive unless they want to make a substitution on a dead ball situation. But, it's kind of one of those scenarios it seemed like both were trying to make the right step up in the depth chart, but it just really wasn't there. And I feel like that's where they want to go. And probably Josh Heupel talk to everybody and be like, hey, this is kind of where we see you guys. And, you have the freshmen coming aboard. Squirrel White's already on campus. Cam Miller, Chabs Nimrod, and some others in the recruiting trail. Yeah, it's just kind of one of those, like, being honest with them, maybe this is not where you fit. The running backs, Lanique Whitehead, he got injured in summer camp, was out for the year. We were talking about, man, we need another running back. And we tried Lynn J. Dixon, and he was in and out quicker than a hiccup. So, Lanique Whitehead, a lot of Vol fans were kind of excited about him. A big bruising running back compared to Deep Beckwith. And now both are not with the program anymore. Beckwith's at Kentucky now. And we'll see where Whitehead is. It just seems like the injuries and not getting that playing time just really hurt. And with the emergence of Dylan Sampson at running back, and looks like they're testing out some guys at running back going into next year. So, we'll wish them the best. Justin Williams-Thomas, I was a little surprised. As far as like that number 3 running back goes, we talked about Small and we talked about Wright. And the two freshmen we talked about back in summer camp in the previews was Dylan Sampson and Justin Williams-Thomas. I was on the Justin Williams-Thomas train because thinking, okay, four-star running back, decommitted from West Virginia. He's come to Tennessee. I think he's going to be that number 3 guy. And then Dylan Sampson, who didn't get a lot of praise and a lot of hype going into, summer camp, just emerging past him. And, now we see the answer. And we saw Justin Williams-Thomas play early on in September and was, had a couple fumbles and, his footing wasn't great. And maybe he's off. Brad said going to miss Alex Golesh. Yeah, absolutely. We talked about Alex Golesh on Sunday. Bittersweet, but I'm happy for him, happy for his family. I think he can turn South Florida around fairly quickly, especially in the American Conference, where I don't know how long the American Conference has been around, over 10 years now, and they haven't really had a consistent team always at the top. It's just kind of been a rotation, whether it's Cincinnati, Memphis, Houston, Central Florida, and next year the American Conference is losing Central Florida, Cincinnati, and Houston to the Big 12. So that's an easier climb for Alex Golesh in South Florida if he just gets the right personnel in. Um, I know as far as big games, I know South Florida's playing Alabama next year in Tuscaloosa. I remember seeing that on their schedule, but they hadn't released the full schedule yet for the American Conference. So, wish all the best for Alex Golesh. He did a great job for us for 2 years at Tennessee with Josh Heupel. Wish him the best, like I said, in his coaching profession. Get back really quick to the transfer portals. Miles Campbell, as far as tight end goes, I think with the emergence of Ethan Davis, who probably sent his letter of intent on the 21st and be on campus by January. Once again, I just don't think Miles Campbell will probably fit in that depth. And who knows about Jacob Warner if he'll come back for his last season. I don't think Preston Fant will, but we'll see. And who knows? There's a couple big tight ends in the transfer portal. And then Savion Herring. I kind of wish he would have stuck around to add some depth on that offensive line, but maybe he just thought there'd be somewhere else to play. But we'll, wish all these Vols the best of luck in the transfer portal. Hopefully, they can go and find a good team to play for and do well. All right, so a couple of guys that as far as targets and rumor innuendos go. Mississippi State wide receiver Ra Thomas, that's spelled Rara, is going to visit Tennessee on December the 12th. He's also scheduled to visit Alabama and I think Texas A&M. Prior to visiting us, he's the last visit. Tennessee's the last visit for Ra Thomas. So it'll be interesting to see how Tennessee recruits him. I mean, this is another recruiting visit, pretty much. With an active player. So I think he would fit very well. As far as, you're losing Tillman, I think you're going to lose Hyatt. So adding somebody like a Ra Thomas, a veteran wide receiver to that core, and especially you're going to have younger wide receivers and Squirrel White, Cam Seldon, Travis Nimrod, many others. So it'd be interesting to see. Some rumors Tennessee are looking at Dominic Lovick, wide receiver from Missouri, Dante Thornton from Oregon, also hearing Theo Weiss from Oklahoma. So it seems like they're looking at wide receiver right away. And I know what you're thinking, what about the defense, David? They need help in the secondary, and I think they will get there. I just think they're, like I said, just trying to pick quality maybe over quantity at this point, but if you as far as some players to watch out for on the defensive side, and they're all corners. J.Q. Hardaway from Cincinnati, he's a defensive back. Watch out, see if Tennessee might make a pursue at him. He visited Tennessee on an official visit and an unofficial visit back in 2021 in the summer. So right when Josh Heupel came aboard, he visited, and then like a month later, I think he visited in June 2021, and then a month later committed to Cincinnati, but he's in the transfer portal. And then Al Blaze Jr. from Miami. He was, I remember, believe it or not, recruited by Coach Cornbread JP for a while there. It looked like he was coming, and then he ended up going to Miami. So a couple of guys to kind of watch out for to see if Tennessee might pursue Al Blaze Jr. and JQ Hardaway. So as far as some recruiting goes, National Early Signing Day, according to Google, is on December 21st. So expect to see, most of the 2023 class to sign. Nico, Shadavian Bradley, Caleb Herron, Cam Seldon, those guys, Ethan Davis, Trevor Daniels, to get on campus and then get ready for spring ball. One guy we haven't mentioned as far as recruiting goes, and we haven't really mentioned recruiting in a while now since the season, but Tennessee did pick up a 4-star player from Concord, North Carolina named Davin Hobbs. He committed on November 25th. So possibly the last player in the 2023 class that Tennessee might pick up, but a nice pickup for Tennessee. So we'll see how that goes. I don't expect to see Tennessee make a big run on the 21st as far as recruiting goes. I think they're pretty set with their 2023 class, but they're definitely looking at 2024 and 2025. As far as the 2024 class goes, Tennessee only has 4 recruits at this time. Jonathan Eccles, who committed on the 4th of July, a 4-star athlete, plays at IMG Academy. Caleb Beasley, 4-star corner from Nashville. There you go. There's some of your secondary help coming aboard. I know that's still a long ways away, but they're on their way. Mazel Bennett, 4-star wide receiver from Greenville, South Carolina, and then Carson Gentle, 3-star defensive lineman from Chattanooga, plays at McCallie. So those are the 4 players in the 2024 class as of this time. As far as some targets go to watch out for, Brad's buddy Sammy Brown, we met him during the Florida game during the ball walk, 5-star linebacker from Jefferson, Georgia. His recruiting journey's still kind of early. He's got a lot of scholarship offers, obviously, but really hasn't made a list out. But definitely to keep an eye out on. I know maybe Brad will have to really push hard for him. Ryan Wingo, 5-star wide receiver from St. Louis. He has Tennessee in his final top 5, along with Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, and Miami. Marcus Gorey Jr., 3-star athlete from Cleveland, Tennessee, plays at Bradley Central High School. I get to see him next year when Bradley comes to play McMinn. He's on Tennessee's radar. He's got a strong Tennessee lead according to 24/7. Boo Carter from Chattanooga has a strong lead, plays at Brainerd High. And then some guys that Tennessee's targeting, I'm not expecting as of now that they're going to commit to Tennessee, but King Joseph Edwards got a strong lead on Georgia. Cam Pringle looks like South Carolina, Ohio State. And then Edwin Spillman, his brother's Nathan Spillman, who's on Tennessee's team or committed to Tennessee. He does have a Tennessee lean. So that's kind of some of the updates from the 2024 recruiting class goes. Any questions or comments as far as anything I mentioned, recruiting or the Orange Bowl or what have you? I know we had a question Sunday night as far as who may pull out as far as Tennessee goes for the NFL draft. Right now, nothing has been announced from both Tennessee or Clemson as of recording. But, you have to kind of take in consideration of Jalen Hyatt. I don't expect to see Cedric Tillman to also play, but then again, Cedric Tillman has been kind of injured throughout the whole year. So I would be shocked to see him actually playing in the Orange Bowl. Jalen Hyatt, like I said, highly touted NFL prospects, so possible. And then maybe Byron Young and Darnell Wright, but who knows at this point. But I know we had that question to ask on Sunday night. And then Clemson, there's some defensive guys that I mentioned, like a Miles Murphy, and a couple of others. I can't think off the top of my head, that may sit out for the Orange Bowl, which personally I don't like when players do that. I understand why they do it, but it's a bowl game, and I know Brad mentioned this earlier. The Orange Bowl is a pretty big bowl game. It's not like you're playing in the Cheez-It Bowl or some random sponsor bowl. Orange Bowl's been around for a very long time. Take the opportunity. I wish, like I said, I know what the future holds, but take these opportunities, play these games, because you're never going to give them back. And I remember what happened with Matt Corral last year during the Sugar Bowl at Ole Miss. He wanted to play in that Sugar Bowl and unfortunately tore his ACL in that game. And everybody's like, "Oh, you should have said, blah, 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 blah." But I would give him credit for doing that. So, but everybody has their opinion. Everybody, has a different view, and it is what it is. But I'm excited for it. I don't know if I mentioned this Sunday night or not, but the travel package for the Orange Bowl and tickets. Let's see if I can pull this text up fairly quickly here. Just a second here. Okay, so I got for my cousin. As far as ticket prices go, so here's the travel package. So if you want to go to Miami for a 3-night air exclusive stay at the Hyatt Regency, I feel like Bob Barker at Price is Right here. stay a 3-night air inclusive high hotel package in Miami. The on December the 28th to the 31st. The total for it is $3,099, and that does not include your tickets. So, kind of interesting if you want to shell out a good $3,100 to go down to Miami to the Orange Bowl to watch. Well, may not even get tickets. I know tickets run about $700. I saw the cheapest about $350. So if you have the money or some Christmas money, you might want to, and interested in that, you might want to do that. But uh, who knows? Give a couple more shout outs. Shout out to Joyce watching along, and Aaron leaving us a like. Thank you very much. Tuning in to Ball Society. Also, Tennessee will be the visiting team for the Orange Bowl. They announced that Sunday also. Basically, because the ACC has the bowl tie-in contract with the Orange Bowl, they alternate every year if the ACC is the home team or the away team. And, lo and behold, Clemson will be the home team because it's the ACC's home team year per se. But it's all cool. Like I said, it's a neutral site game. There's going to be a lot of Vol fans down there. I know we just talked about the $3,100 trip down there, not including tickets. It's still going to be Vol Nation's still going to show up and show out and fill Hard Rock Stadium up. And there's going to be a lot of orange there at the Orange Bowl. Should be a lot of fun. I'm excited to see what Tennessee can do. Even with Joe Milton, I know Bryce said he has some concerns with Joe, and I get it. But what is Tennessee going to do? I have an idea what they're going to do. I just want to see what kind of game plan Tennessee's going to do. And especially, I'm excited to see the Clemson defense, and I mentioned it on the Sunday night show. There's a couple of guys on that Clemson defense with 6.5 sacks on the year. The other guy's got like 4, and another guy with 3. So they're going to rush the quarterback. I'm curious to see, number one, can we keep the up-tempo offense going? And number two, how's Joe Milton going to be ready with that kind of pressure? Like I said, this is Joe's going to be his 4th start at Tennessee, and this will be definitely his toughest team. Pitt was pretty tough, in 2021, but he didn't finish the game, and Hendon Hooker came in, and the rest is history. And then Vanderbilt, started out strong in the first quarter, but then felt inconsistent the rest of the way. But thankfully we just blew up in the running game and had guys go 80-yard touchdown runs, and hopefully we have that in the Orange Bowl. But I think obviously Clemson's a whole different animal than Vanderbilt is, and this is still a really good Clemson team. I know they missed the playoffs the last 2 years, but this still is a team that's, as far as talent-wise goes, right there with Georgia, right there with Alabama. They got 5-star players just like in the SEC. They're going to go. They're going to play us tough. I just want to know, is Josh Heupel and this team ready to take on Clemson, really to challenge them? And we talked about DJ Uyangale was the starting quarterback for Clemson most of the season. ACC championship game, started out 2 for 8 for 22 yards. Dabo pulled him out. Cade Klubnik came in and won the game's MVP. And now DJ's in the transfer portal, and looks like Cade Klubnik is going to be the starting quarterback for Clemson, not only in the bowl game, but going into 2023. Is the secondary ready for Cade Klubnik? We made a lot of quarterbacks look like All-Americans all season. Spencer Rattler and some of them deserve it. Spencer Rattler, Bryce Young had a great game against us. Anthony Richardson had a great game against us. It's just, I want to see the secondary find a way to contain Klubnik, and it's interesting to see what Tennessee's also kind of dialed up defensively with Tim Banks. We didn't see them blitz at all on Spencer Rattler. And Spencer Rattler ate us up. But then we go out against Mike White and whoever else was playing quarterback for Vanderbilt and just destroyed them. You look at uh, uh, who we played? No, Ball State. Yeah, Ball State at the beginning of the year. We didn't blitz John Paddock, their quarterback. But then the next week against Keaton Slovis and Patty and Pitt, we just sent everybody out. So it's very interesting to see how the scheming and the coaching has been defensively throughout this whole season, where at times you wanted to make a statement and they didn't really make a statement, but then, I guess when the game matters, they really made it matter, even at times getting burnt. But very interesting to see what this staff's going to do to contain, I wouldn't say, I guess an inexperienced quarterback as far as starts go, but definitely has the talent to hurt us. And it could happen. But definitely so. Any others? Questions, comments, as far as anything goes? Basketball. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. So basketball, men's basketball team rolls on. 7-1 on the year. They will play Eastern Kentucky tomorrow night at Thompson-Boling Arena, the final warm-up game before we head to Brooklyn, New York, Sunday afternoon to take on the undefeated and number 13 Maryland Terrapins in the Basketball Hall of Fame Invitational. This Maryland team's really good, led by Dante Scott, averaging 15 points a game. Like I said, Tennessee's as besides that Colorado game, man, I wish we had that Colorado game back in Nashville. Tennessee's played very well. We looked at what happened down at the Battle for Atlantis. Butler, USC, and Kansas all went down. And now Tennessee has an opportunity after tomorrow. After their game ends tomorrow night over Eastern Kentucky, you get back-to-back undefeated teams in Maryland and Arizona. You get to play Arizona on December the 17th at Arizona. It's going to be a late tip-off, a 10:30 tip-off on that Saturday night, but they are playing in Arizona, so it does make sense. So big opportunity for Rick Barnes to continue to build this resume up. Excited to see this team really develop. I was very excited in the Battle for Atlantis. Tennessee trying to attempt an inside game and not relying a lot on the three-pointers, although they shot a lot and unfortunately missed a lot. But guys like Julian Phillips really helped out. Olivier Commois brought some inside game. I'm excited to see what Julian Phillips is going to do down the stretch. He's done a very good job playing the four very well. And I expect to see him probably be in the starting lineup, maybe, believe it or not, over a Commois, as far as in the starting five goes. But that's fine. We like Commois, and I think he's going to contribute off the bench. But I just think Julian Phillips is right now probably your solid number 4. You're going to have Euros at center. You could also bench Euros, I guess. I don't know. And then obviously, and you didn't have Josiah Jordan-James playing in the Battle for Atlantis tournament, still kind of recovering from his injuries. I'm sure he'll be healthy to go the rest of the way. And then you got great guard play in Santiago Vescovi and Sky Ziegler. Johnny says Julian Phillips is legit. His progression is key to the team's success. Yes. Like I said, just very impressed what he did in Atlantis. And it's been very flattering to see Rick Barnes recruiting well and developing freshmen. We've had now 3 one-and-done players. Keon Johnson, Jaden Springer from 2 years ago, and then Kennedy Chandler last year. Matter of fact, shout out to Kennedy Chandler. Had a huge game last night for the Memphis Grizzlies. Had a nice little Sports Center highlight play there. So cool to see that. And I think Julian Phillips is right there, Johnny. He's probably going to be maybe another one-and-done guy. But like I said, I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the season down the stretch. But big games coming up for Tennessee. Reminder, SEC play begins at the end of the month. So normally we start like right after uh, New Year's or right after the BCS. Wish the BCS still around. They're right after the college football playoff national championship game. But now they start against Ole Miss on the 28th. Johnny says, I'm not as high on this team, but they have impressed me to this point. Yeah, same way. My biggest thing is the 3-point shooting. I think, and Dee's mentioned this on the last podcast we did. Somebody asked a question about basketball. They're going to live by the three and die by the three, and some nights it's going to work, and some nights it's not. And we're kind of seeing that. But thankfully, with Julian Phillips kind of merging inside, really helped out and cleaned up that big scar of that 3-point shooting. But, a lot of your foul trouble can happen inside too, and you may have to rely on these guards. And where does Tennessee go from there? But still quite a ways away. Main thing is we want this team to get hot in March. I want them to get some great wins December, January, February. But man, if we're clicking by March, could be in for something sweet. But we've kind of seen this story before. Lady Vols, they won tonight. I'm not. Johnny says spot on. We need somebody who can get points when the three isn't working. You're right, Johnny. Absolutely. Lady Vols, let me talk about this. So they defeated Chattanooga tonight, won by 30. Congratulations. So Lady Vols are now 5-5. Where is these resume wins going to come for Kellie Harper? And I think this is a big question now if you're a Lady Vol fan. Can Kellie Harper win some big games? We know that we can beat Chattanooga by 30. We know we can beat other schools pretty handily. But now this year, where you got a good team, have a chance to be a threat to South Carolina, and all of a sudden, you lose at Ohio State. You drop to Indiana. You drop to Virginia Tech. You drop into some big ranked teams that you can win, especially on your home court. You shouldn't be losing at Thompson-Boling Arena. I'm sorry. But Kellie Harper's got to look herself in the mirror and got to look this team in the mirror and thinking, okay, what can we do to build this team? And I know she's a Lady Vol for life, but I'm really cheering for her that she doesn't go down the same road as Holly Warlick. I really hope so, because if it's it, there can be some change. I'm a Titans fan. Today we got rid of our general manager, John Robinson, because the team was taking a shift in turn as far as the direction of the program. And we quickly eliminated that. I'm not trying to put Kellie Harper on the hot seat, but I'm saying there is kinks in the armor in this Lady Vols program. Where does Danny White see Kellie Harper? And where does Kellie Harper see this team? There's got to be some big questions answered, because right now it's not looking like a great season for the Lady Vols. Yeah, they may go out and beat some of the mid-tier teams and bottom-tier teams, but when it comes to a South Carolina or an LSU or, another Arkansas or somebody like that, can they get back and get some wins? And right now the answer is no to me. She's got way too much talent to kind of put this performance out here. I love you, Kellie Harper. You're a Lady Vol for life, but 5-5 right now in December 6th is unexcusable. So, gotta get going. All right. That was more of a rant than I did with the Hendon Hooker situation. Oh, well, it is what it is. Any other questions or comments? Hopefully get the podcast going again. We apologize. We've been away a couple of weeks. We've had some personal stuff came up with our VFL family. Hopefully get everything going again. I know we got a lot to talk about. I really miss doing it. And we appreciate your patience with that. Like I said, we'll be back on with the podcast thing. Like I said, still doing Vol Society Live. Having fun with it. At least I am, I think. um, got a lot of cool stuff coming aboard. It's going to be a busy December with basketball, with the Vols and Lady Vols. Transfer portal. Be excited to see who maybe Tennessee targeting or what players may target Tennessee. And then December the 30th, 8 o'clock kickoff Eastern Time, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Capital One Orange Bowl, Tennessee and Clemson. The Orange team's in the Orange Bowl. I'm excited about it. Cannot wait for it. Should be a lot of fun. All right, any others before I kind of shut her down here? Appreciate everybody tonight tuning in. Kind of like cleaning up some mess a little bit, I guess you could say. Talk some recruiting, talk some transfer portal. Preview a little bit more in the Orange Bowl. Like I said, thank you for tuning in to Vol Society Live tonight. Don't forget, continue to follow our social media pages, facebook.com/UT Vol Society. Oh, before we get out of here, if you're on Facebook, please vote for our Vol Society year-end of 2022 end of the year awards. Go ahead and pull that up really quick. Give you the nominees. Here we go. So, Vol of the Year nominees: Hendon Hooker, Jalen Hyatt, Kennedy Chandler, Trey Lipscomb. Lady Vol of the Year: Ray Burrell, Jordan Horson, Ashley Rogers. Coach of the Year: Josh Heupel, Rick Barnes, Tony Vitello. Breakout Star of the Year: Jalen Hyatt, Kennedy Chandler, Trey Lipscomb, Zakai Ziegler. And the Game of the Year: Tennessee, Alabama football, Tennessee, Florida football, Tennessee, Kentucky SEC semifinal game in basketball, and then Tennessee, Florida SEC championship in baseball. Go to Vol Society Live, or Vol Society Live, facebook.com/UT Vol Society, and look for the Vol Society year-end awards. We're going to keep that up throughout the rest of the week, and then we'll tally the votes on Sunday, and we'll reveal them on our Vol Society page Sunday or Monday, the latest. So definitely check that out on Facebook. Vote for it. We're having a lot of fun with it. I know Hendon Hooker's running away with one of the awards. Ashley Rogers getting a lot of love. Jalen Hyatt. But like I said, vote who you think should be the winners of these awards. I mean, a lot of these people deserve it. I know we're not really going to give them a trophy, but it's just for bragging rights per se. But definitely check it out on Facebook, youtube.com/Vol Society. Continue to subscribe to us, follow us on Twitter, and that's all we got pretty much. Thank you for tuning in to Vol Society Live. Please make sure you follow along our social media pages for the latest updates across Tennessee athletics. And we'll be back next Tuesday night for more Vol Society Live, continuing the road to Miami when Tennessee takes on Clemson in the Orange Bowl. Until next time, this is David Morrison saying have a great night and go